By my 20s, I knew I needed to be working in a field that involves intuition. Energy medicine is perhaps the most intuitive area of healing arts, so that's what lured me in, and I found massage therapy to be the most marketable way to be connected to energy medicine. And energy medicine represents the application of applied philosophy. Traditional Chinese medicine is the most well-known form of energy medicine in the world. I started learning meridian theory in 1982. It took about a decade to become proficient, and now it's been 2 more decades. Storytelling usually includes the element of philosophy, and a great story usually conveys soulfulness. I'm convinced that China could create something at the level of Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, or Star Trek, and maybe even have more depth. Someday a movie will be made where Lao Tzu is the main character. It could be about a single day in his life. Doing this effectively requires some high-quality psychic research. I would love to be involved in something like that. I would also enjoy the opportunity to live in China for a year or two. I got started with meditation and yoga in high school as a teenager. In college, I started getting involved in touch healing arts as a hobby. This continued until I made it my livelihood at age 29 in 1988. And now I'm looking to change my career focus to entertainment research and development. I fell in love with music when I discovered the Beatles as a child. When they broke up in 1970, popular music was starting to become more sophisticated with classical and jazz influences. I studied piano and music theory through high school, and by college I had a couple of electronic keyboard instruments. I just didn't see how I could have a career in music, so in my 20s I put more focus on developing my ability with touch healing arts, and music continued to be a hobby. My healing arts training was unconventional. Since it was only a hobby for 7 years, I just took the courses that interested me. I was learning how to read energy and interpret interference patterns. I would then apply that understanding to the way I practice massage therapy. In my 30s, I also learned how to do sessions without touch. We call it a guided process, and it's even effective as a phone consultation. Much of what I was learning had to do with accessing the subconscious mind. Indigenous people understand that you get to the higher self through the lower self, and the subconscious mind is the lower self. When someone is having a huge impact on planetary culture, it just makes sense that there's some type of super-connected state, and that begs the question, what allows that? Nikola Tesla had an awareness of technology that was still 100 years away, and when asked how he got this awareness, he said that he had a psychic connection with a database that existed outside of our solar system. I think he learned how to make those connections out of body while sleeping, and great fiction writers also use sleep time as a creative space. And this is what I've been studying now for decades. I adopted a black cat. It was a kitten in 1999, and we bonded a lot right away. And I had a trip to the desert of California, and as I was getting on the plane and approaching my seat, I noticed somebody was in my head, and it occurred to me that it was related to my cat. Animals have these abilities, and so it wasn't strange, and it occurred to me that this cat was in my life to help me learn how telepathy works. At the time, I had no idea that it would be musical telepathy. I made that discovery in May of 2012, and my cat lived until age 16 and passed away last May of 2015. I knew it was time to make more of an effort to share what I've been learning. So I'm available to give presentations on musical telepathy and self-hypnosis for entertainment professionals or aspiring entertainment professionals while I'm in Hong Kong from May 8th through May 11th. And I can also give a presentation in Tianjin or Beijing on May 7th. If one of my projects gets funded, I'm also available to relocate to Hong Kong for at least a year. I would love to participate in the development of a new genre of music that can have global appeal. It would be a genre that blends, it might blend a lot of different styles or just be entirely new. And I think people who develop this music should understand the nature of hypnotic states so that they can access content from their subconscious mind. I have a lot to share along these lines, and I'll give a brief demo of how I combine dance conditioning with self-hypnosis with the help of music that has that hypnotic influence. I'm also interested in being involved in the development of a science fiction musical that's set in the middle of this century with a Chinese story that would involve cultural exchange on a galactic level.